Hello, my name is Rachel Moore, and today I'm going to be sharing my redesign of the tutoring schedule that we use at Roane State Community College. And this was a lot of fun for me because I have used the schedule for 2 years as a student and since then as well as one of the tutors. So I see a lot of frustrations with this throughout my day. So I'll get started by showing you the site beforehand. This is how it currently is live. The first thing I notice is how much text there is. I don't know where I'm supposed to look first. There's not a real hierarchy to all the text, and it just takes a lot of cognitive load to make sense of what we're seeing here, which I think is a big part of why it's not very user friendly. Um, my main gripe with the site are these filters down here. So let's take a closer look at those. So yeah, we talked about text heavy. This is next level. This is the drop down for selecting a tutor. As you can see, I can't select more than one tutor. And, I have to read each line to find the subject that I want. It's just really not user friendly at all. Also, there is no search option. I feel like you should be able to just type in your subject and find and select all of the tutors who could help you with that. And then these two filters at the bottom they're both for the type of meeting you want or the location. I think it's odd how we have online here in this drop down, but we also have face-to-face versus Zoom. So that's never made sense to me. And actually finding the subject that you want is almost like a scavenger hunt. But I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just me who had these thoughts, so I did talk with other tutors and students. I tried to speak with people with various backgrounds and skills in tech so I could get a feel for what exactly was the main problem. And looking at the information I found, people agreed the main issues are confusion over that time zone thing. You have to convert the time from Eastern to whatever time zone you're in. And that is a lot of extra text, a lot of visual clutter, and people really would like a search bar. So, my primary person who I decided to design for was the students. They're the main users anyway. They're the people who need to find the information quickly. So, I tried to prioritize speed and ease of use. The one of the first design objectives also that I worked on was trying to make it accessible, more inclusive for diverse users, and just make it more intuitive. So yeah, cognitive load, that seemed like one of the biggest things for me and the users I talked with. So I tried to get rid of a lot of the text, make it cleaner, shorter, and more hierarchy based. Um, and for the text that I did keep, I made I made the headings bold and tried to use consistent typography so it's easier to scan. And at first, in the search boxes, I had disappearing placeholders. So when you start to type, they disappear, but I realized that's not very user friendly. So I added persistent labels above those search bars. So here's an overview. Again, this is the original site. Here is the improved one, I feel. You can see the location filters have been consolidated into one easy to use menu. There's also a subject search bar so students can jump right in and find the help that they need. And if you look over here, you can see this link to the main website, which has a chat feature. I feel like nobody's going to see that. So I have a chat baked in over here with a button that matches their own state colors. They've got a home button that matches, and I feel like it's just way simpler than what it was originally. I did try to make it accessible. One of the main things was making sure the colors had high contrast. I used a color contrast checker online to make sure it looked good. I also added alt text to that logo, and I would, of course, make sure the site supports keyboard navigation for people who don't use a mouse. Also, in Figma, I created some interactive components. This was a really good learning experience for me. I hadn't really worked with variants before. I didn't even know what that meant. So it was really cool to see how those work to make a prototype interactive. And then one of the biggest things that I think would make a difference for users is to get rid of this crazy long text and avoid the user having to do mental math to figure out when their appointment is in the local time. So ideally, the site would just use the location of the user and convert the time for them automatically. I also focused on error handling. I couldn't think of a lot of errors that might happen. The only thing would be if, say, a student searched for a subject which we do not offer tutoring for, like underwater basket weaving. So when they would type something in that has no results, you would see this error pop up explaining what's wrong and how to fix it. And you also get this little button so you can easily clear that and start again. So yeah, here is the finished prototype. I'm going to switch over so you can see the interactivity of it. All of these blue things are things that we can click on. These just lead you back to this page. Here's our location filter. As you can see, we can make multiple selections. And let's say we typed in a crazy subject here. You can see that pops up. We've got our clear all filters button, which also is functional. All right. So I also made a mobile version. Of course, it's vertical layout. And I made the tap targets, everything you can click on. Made sure those are at least 44 by 44 pixels for ease of use. And I tried to keep all of the buttons that you would use down in that thumb zone to improve reachability, and also made the fonts bigger. So yeah, overall, I think this redesign results in something that's more user-friendly, it's accessible and inclusive for all users, and it's just more simple and clear. And I really wish we could switch to it, but Rhone State is a little limited because it is a third-party service that we use. So. But yeah, this was a great exercise. It taught me a lot about accessibility and how you have to design for that from the beginning. It can't just be some checklist, some afterthought. I learned more about error handling and zero state things. Also creating interactive features. I had made a high fidelity prototype before, but it wasn't super interactive, so this was great. I also learned how iterative it can be, the design process. It's not just a one and done, let's just make a design and we're done. You know, you have a lot of trial and sometimes error that you have to work through. So, yeah, overall, very good learning experience. Um, that is all I've got, and I look forward to seeing what you guys worked on. Thanks so much for watching.